Hello,
Boy, how are you?
Paddy. How are things?
Good, good. All good here from New York.
How are you getting on? You're looking fresh.
If I'm going on the EJ's page, I need to be looking fresh, you know?
You're looking a bit better than me anyway. With this head here.
I like it. I
Or
like
back
it, actually.
here. You weren't tempted, no?
No, no. I was trying to find a good Farah t-shirt to wear for this, but we had to leave the city so quickly. I didn't really get a chance to pick much of my wardrobe.
Yeah. EJMenswear.com, boy. She's back up and running.
That's it. You know what? I could just order it now fairly quickly. You're back open, right?
Free delivery, Paddy.
Open online.
I'll throw the pair of socks to you.
Oh, perfect.
Is that your camper van behind you there? Is it?
That's going to be the mode of transportation for the summer now. If we don't go back to work, we'll have to find something to fill up
Yeah.
the time with.
It looks like you could be out there. For anyone watching now, Paddy is out in Montauk at the minute. Obviously, we'll get to that a bit further into the interview, but he's usually in New York City. And just to give you a bit of a background on Paddy, a lot of you tuning in will know Paddy from his own Instagram page, Greene NYC promoter, and just through link-ups we've done with Paddy over the last couple of years as well. He's been a great help to EJs and promoting it stateside and just pushing the website and that. But we'll give you a bit of a background to Paddy anyway, just to let you know why we have him on. Paddy's Sligo native. Grew up only down the road from myself in Sligo. Played at the same Gaelic football team together. He went to Summerhill College. From there he went on to NYC in Galway. Done a small bit of drinking with Paddy, mainly stuff that he was good with the books. Got through Galway accountancy, ended up in DCU, doing his masters in e-commerce, and fast forward a couple of years, Paddy's making headway in New York as one of the top nightclub promoters. So I suppose, Paddy, looking at your studies and your college years, it looked very much like you were heading down maybe the business finance route, but it was a bit of a detour along the way, and you ended up making a name for yourself, as I said, as a nightclub promoter in New York. Give us an idea how that detour came about.
Well, yeah, I just came over here on the J1 grad visa and was just looking kind of to get into any type of work coming over, like working for free, whatever. And just my first port of call was to go working in a bar. And so then I started working in a bar here, and through that, I ended up meeting contacts to go to a nightclub one night. And then to just kind of fast forward, like maybe 2 or 3 months later, anyone really that comes to New York for the first year, they're all kind of living paycheck to paycheck. And it came up that I was coming up to Christmas and ended up being let go by the bar, who then that bar now was actually owned by a Sligo man. So,
Yeah.
so it was a very,
We
very
won't say who he
political
is.
move. Yeah, that he let go of a Sligo town native, but so pretty much it was coming into Christmas and I had no other form of income, so I was just started just promoting this nightclub down in the meatpacking district, and I would every Thursday, Friday, Saturday night I would stand on the side of the street and just try and get people to come into a nightclub.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it started in New York. Obviously my college degree is in accountancy, and obviously I probably just wasn't really that good at it, and then I kind of dived into marketing. So then when I came over to New York, I wanted to work in marketing and branding and all that stuff. So I got there eventually with a few ups and downs.
Yeah.
But as you know, promoting all these good nightclubs, it always is a nightmare for that one night where you came and I couldn't get you in. Even now to this day, I don't think I ever deserved to let it down.
No, in fairness now, that wasn't your fault. Paul McDade started drinking too early in the afternoon, so we can't hold that one against you, Paddy. It's just an excuse to go back over to you and make the visit to the Marquee nightclub again, just to say we.
Yeah.
Was it ever a plan, Paddy, to get into the marketing side of things in New York? Or I suppose, did you go over there with any plan at all? Or, you know, did the nightclub promotion thing just seem to happen? Or
the nightclub stuff was all by accident. But yeah, before moving over here, I worked in Dublin in advertising. And so when I came over here, it was, okay, let's try your best to get into that area of work. And the first 2 or 3 months were very, like, you know, you come over here and it's summer, so you're just kind of catching up with friends, you're playing football, so that kind of has your focus. You're not really concentrating on going straight into the job. And so that kind of held me back. And then the next thing, I'm 3 months into my 9 month I'm 3 months into my 1 year visa, and I've only 9 months left to find something and make them like me enough. So what ended up happening was we did like a video resume, and that's something that I would highly recommend. People reach out to me ever asking, oh, how do you know, what's a good way to get attention in America and all that, and getting into the area you want to work, is just do something that everyone else isn't doing. So we put together a video resume, and it's actually probably one of the best videos I've ever made. Where
I remember that one.
Like, yeah, so
that got you off the ground, so it did.
Yeah. So that was a good one. So yeah, to answer your question, yeah, it was always the plan to work in marketing and advertising over here, you know. Yeah,
well, I suppose the background and that definitely helped in the game you ended up in as well. But starting from scratch, I suppose, as a one-man operation in New York, not the easiest city in the world to make your name. Getting out there, getting your name in the right places, building up relationships with nightclub owners. How hard was the graft in the early days? Was there ever a time where you might have doubted, you know, whether it was the game for you, or, you know, how did it pan out in the first couple of years?
Yeah, like you said there, you're lucky in one aspect that you're Irish, and for some reason all these venues, they all kind of like the Irish guy, you know, because maybe they're used to dealing with some other people, and Irish people generally have a good reputation in the nightlife or in the bar scene in New York. You know, everyone always seems to have their favorite Irish bar, you know. So it was always whenever I started off, you know, I'd walk up to the door and I'd say, oh, I'm working tonight, and they're like, oh, who are you even working for? And you're just like, that's how bottom of the barrel you are, you know. They don't even know who you are when you're coming up and you're telling them, oh, I have 15 people here, but they're like, who are you? You know, that's how low you are when you start off first. And then what really would have helped then is this all happened along the same side. Conor McGregor was getting very popular, so that was a huge conversation starter. It's all about building relationships, no matter where, especially New York. It's the old cliche of it's who you know and not what you know. You know, and that's once you're building up a normal relationship with them, the same as people in your shop, same with people that come out with me now. It's you're trying to form a personal relationship, so that they're, you know. So that's kind of what I really focused on, just being try a bit more insofar as just say, you know, thank them for taking care of me that night, you know. Just say when you're leaving, just say basic business type of antics.
Getting on with the people. I suppose your bread and butter obviously is the Irish people who are coming over maybe on a weekly basis, particularly the thousands of students go over on the J1s during the summer. But I remember you telling me before that the after party of the McGregor fight, when he beat in October 2016, to unify or to win the two belts, who we bet again? It's gone.
Eddie Alvarez.
Eddie Alvarez. I was going to say Mendes, but that was Chad Mendes. Sure, we were, myself and yourself were at the Chad Mendes fight in Vegas. I was Mendes, you know, they're close enough. But I remember you telling me before that was a game changer for yourself, and it changed the whole perspective, I suppose, from some of the nightclub owners in New York towards the Irish. Obviously, we were always seen as people who go out, have a good time, like to drink. But you were just saying that changed the whole landscape for, I suppose, like an Irish nightclub promoter for yourself in New York at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, beforehand, it was, I would have pitched the idea to one of the nightclub owners. This is before I was even working for them, and I would have been just kind of said, look, would you consider doing the after party for Conor McGregor? I've loads of just say clients at the time that they spent like 50 grand, 100 grand on tickets for their clients at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
So I'd be like very good friends. One of them, Alan, he's with me here out in Montauk. Their company would have been bringing their clients out, simple client entertainment. And so I would have pitched the idea to the nightclub, and they're like thinking, no, what Irish people, St. Patrick's Day, pints of Guinness, there's no real money there. And kind of just had to kind of persuade them and like convince them that, look, there is serious money there. We're not pints of Guinness and crisps anymore, and we actually do have money, and we want to, we're happy to spend it. So and you have to remember, you're pitching this to a bunch of Jewish nightclub owners, so they're not familiar with Irish culture really at all, So
not there's nothing wrong with the Jewish nightclub owners now we're at, but
no, exactly. Just the Jewish, Israel and Ireland, we're not too familiar with each other's cultures.
Yeah.
Back then, not as much. Maybe now a bit more. But so that was the whole thing, and they ended up going ahead with it. And it was just said there was 25 tables, and every table was sold out with $8,000 minimum spends at least. And the night was, I remember at 10 p.m. that night, one of my other buddies wanted to do a table, and he wanted to buy a table, and the nightclub told us that they were sold out. And he wanted to do a 10 grand table, and it's like we were like, just make a table,
Yeah.
make a table. He doesn't care, he just wants to be in there. He wants to spend that much money in your club. Just make a table somewhere.
Yeah.
That's how popular the demand was. And then ever since then, where they kind of realized, oh, this guy isn't talking out of his arse, they gave me more opportunities, and now they hire us we do 18 to 20 parties every week with that certain venue or vendor, so to speak.
Yeah, so it sort of cemented your place as a serious operation in their eyes,
Yeah, and then after that, then luckily enough, we had Anthony Joshua. We had a good connections with them, and whenever he came to New York, we would have brought him out, and it would have been the same idea again. We're pitching so we're like a promotions company. So our job is to go to these venues and say, look, we can get you this guy for this price. We'll make you. This is how much the money's going to make. Just simple. It's like taking over a venue,
Yeah,
And
you've had a few big names on top of Anthony or McGregor and Joshua are obviously the two standout ones, but you have a lot of Premiership footballers, Irish rugby players. I see a lot of the Dublin footballers head over, I suppose, after they've won All Ireland the last 5 years in a row.
Yeah.
You're building up relationships with some of these lads as well, and nearly becoming friends with some of them, I suppose, or you're seeing that much of them.
Yeah, that's probably the coolest part of the job is, 5 years or 6, 7 years ago when I was in Ireland, I would have watched these guys and just never would have thought anything more of it. And then next thing, they're kind of reaching out to you to come to some of the parties, especially I remember maybe 5 years ago was the first time where we brought out I think it was Conor Murray. And, these guys are just such nice, humble, normal guys. And they're just in New York, and they're just as, the New York is in awe of New York, because it's such a cool place,
You make it easy. You make it easy for them getting around and just putting on the show.
Yeah, so that's the plan. Like if you have a client coming from Dubai, where we have guys, so Saudi Prince. We used to have a Saudi Prince that used to come out with us, and they just want everything done because they're literally that high end. And so they want a restaurant. They don't care about the price. They just want to be the restaurant. They want it now. They want the best table in the nightclub. They don't care about the price. And one time we had we have a Saudi Prince coming in spending $5,000 to $10,000, and he doesn't drink alcohol, so he's just spending that money just to be in the venue. It's outrageous in that regard,
Different worlds. So the Equinox back in the day with the free cocktail sausages and we drink before you went into the nightclub, wouldn't have done the Saudi Prince boys, I'd say.
Yo, no, I'd always thought about extending the invite to the Saudi Prince to Sligo to see if he'd take me up on it, you know.
Oh, into tops and straight to the four lights.
Yeah. That would be that'd be the kind of service he requires.
Yeah, no better man to do it than yourself, I suppose. Yeah, our business was flying for you, Paddy. You had, how long was it since you set up is it 5-6 years?
Yeah, it's six. I'm here 7 years in June, so it's around 6.5 years. So
Yeah.
obviously we only started off maybe doing one night a week, and then it started going into 3, then obviously 5, and now it's 7 nights a week, 20 events every week approximately, and they range from brunches to boat parties to restaurant parties, and obviously nightclub and rooftops, so there's a large variety of events to choose from, so for example, if you hit me up to come over, I'll send you the whole list and the lineup. Generally the whole idea is I'll be able to put you on the guest list for all these events, and we have an area where you can get a few drinks on the house and everything, so it's a completely different environment to back in Ireland. A lot of people, when they come over to New York, they don't get it, they're like, what's the catch? There really is no catch. That's how crazy New York is. There's just such a competition to have a nice crowd in their venues, that these venues they hire us promoters to kind of set the scene in the venue, so that like extras in a movie, you could compare it to,
full of drink.
And that's where we get to be at some really cool venues and parties. We had the likes of Bradley Cooper and Leonardo DiCaprio and Rihanna and Tiesto and all them at these events, and I'm just there.
Different.
It's my job to be there, and then you see all these names walking in, and you're like, wow, this is cool,
Yeah. Must be a bit surreal, like, and listening to that, like, things were, as I said, were flying for you. You'd built up a huge following on social media, a lot of hard work gone into the business. You were coming up to your probably a few of your busiest days of the year with St. Patrick's Day and a few days around that, and then all of a sudden, bang, shut down, and obviously the arrival of the coronavirus in New York. Just fill us in on what it was like in the days and the weeks leading up to the arrival of COVID-19 in New York, and I suppose the effect it's had since.
Yeah, that's what it really is very serious over here. We were getting word that it's going to close down for maybe 1 or 2 days, and then next thing it was a Tuesday, the clubs were still open. Wednesday, the clubs were still open, and then on Thursday it was like, okay, we're closing down, and they were saying no events over 500 people. So then next thing I go, me and my friend, we were saying, let's go out to Montauk for 2 days, and the 2 days we're out here, it was a complete shutdown then on the city, and it was like, okay, it's actually dangerous to go back into the city. And then even since then, the guy that runs the apartment building I live in, he's saying not to come back to the building, that there's loads of cases in the building. So really, there's nowhere, like, it is as bad as it sounds. I can't go back to my apartment building. You can't go on the streets. You can't even come back in the city now if you're like, so and now the latest thing yesterday was that we have to wear a mask anywhere you go.
Everywhere.
And so it's really that bad. But I mean, look, at the end of the day, it is what it is, and you just kind of have to make the most of the time off you have. Like what you're doing, like, just you gotta make the most of what it is, and not be getting yourself down or anything like that.
Yeah. I suppose it just all came about so suddenly, like, but might seem like a bit of a stupid question. We all know the population of New York, huge city, massive, millions of people, but why? In your opinion, I suppose no one really knows, but why has it hit New York so bad? Is it just a case of too little, too late, or what would you think yourself?
I think it's just because the density of people here, and there's just so many people. You just can't. It's very hard to police it. Even like especially in nightclubs, there's 500 to 800 people in such a close vicinity. How are you? We're fully expecting stuff like us, concerts, everything where there's large group gatherings. They're going to be the last to open. So and then you just have the whole density, people living beside each other. That's how bad. You just can't police that. Same as it's the major cities in every country that's it. Same in Dublin, London, everywhere. It's just because there's just so many people in the cities. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sligo's not too bad, is it?
No. In fairness, Sligo has. We actually last week anyway. We were managing it better than anywhere in the country. So I think really just bought into it early on, and that made the difference. But you've a lot, much smaller population, so it is easier to police it. But one thing I was sort of interested in was obviously it's well known that there are so many undocumented Irish living in New York. You probably know plenty yourself. You're lucky in the case that you have you have the green card, you have the freedom of coming over and back if needs be. But how worrying is it for those people? Obviously, they've no cover at all, particularly health insurance. Do you know many that have to make the tough decision to up and return home?
Yeah, luckily, I'm out here so long now. My friends we're all established, so it's only people that really have moved over in the last year and a half, who would be just a lot younger than me, wouldn't really be in my immediate friend group. But you would see on the online groups, Facebook groups, for example, where there's like maybe 2,000 Irish people in New York. A lot of them are putting their rooms up for rent because they're all have to go home early, Yeah. I haven't really heard too many cases, luckily, of people close to me that have been affected or hospitalized. But you hear some lovely stories of nurses that work in various hospitals, NYU and such, where they're reaching out to me and they're like, look, if you know anyone or anyone's friends are in these hospitals and they need notes passed, please let me know, and I'd love to spend some time with them because I'll be in the hospital and they'll be on their own. So you hear some nice stories like that are nice to hear.
Yeah, it's definitely one thing that I think worldwide has definitely brought out the best in everyone, And just to touch on, obviously, the GA, I spent 2 great summers myself in New York, playing with Long Island Gales. Now, not to be tough or too serious or anything, but just great memories. But probably the best thing I think personally about the GA is the spread of the clubs worldwide, and that sort of sense of belonging or community it gives to people who might be thousands of miles away from home. Have you seen sort of proof of that since COVID-19 arrived in New York yourself?
Yeah, we're lucky. We're actually with the Sligo, New York club over here as well, and we've had a decent enough bit of success the last 3 or 4 years, and mainly because of the home base of the team. So you have guys there from Tubbercurry, Tordestrand, Curry, and they're all lads that have been living here. They're in their maybe 50s, 60s, 70s, and it's a proper club. And I was out sitting here at the table maybe 10 days ago, and I got a phone call from the godfather of the Sligo GA over here, so to speak, and he was just asking how we were, and they were calling all our players, asking if we were all right for money, if we needed somewhere to stay, blah blah blah. Just to make it's that kind of that phone calls like that mean a lot. Luckily I'm in a position where I don't need their help, but and I'm sure a lot of the lads wouldn't even accept it, even if they did. But it's great to have it. It's great. It's a great, makes you feel very proud to be from the Sligo New York club here.
Yeah, big time, man. I suppose there's bound to be a couple of young lads who might be just new to New York, and that phone call or offer would mean a huge amount to someone like that, just settling into the city and hit with this pandemic, So
did you ever play for Sligo, New York out here? No.
No, we were sort of stuck to the more casual side of things. We were out in Long Island, and Long Beach was too far for training with Sligo, Paddy. So.
Yeah. Did you ever play against them? No.
Huh?
Did you play against them?
No, we played Roscommon and Kerry, and I remember playing a few games, but never playing. Sligo were operating at a much. When we were there, I think they were intermediate, but it's a serious outfit over there now at the minute, so it is.
Yeah, it's a good outfit at the moment now. You know, you have a lot of Sligo actual players there. You know,
yeah.
And, you know, a few years ago, Mark Bryan, he came out and he really helped. He had really helped us win the intermediate. And then this year we had Darren McConnon, who used to play with Sligo. He got man of the match in the final. He still reminds us about it every few days that he got man of the match in the final. I think he had a bit of money on the game or something. That's probably
he'd be reminding you for a long time to come yet.
Yeah.
And it was good. It was great to see the celebrations and all the. You know, a lot of times you might be, you know, you might have the Sligo team in New York or Mayo or whatever, but there might necessarily be a lot of fellas from the actual county back home. But as it happened the year you won it, there was a few Sligo heads on the team.
Yeah, and there's a lot of Sligo people in New York. You know, you've seen Ronan Carter and Paul McDade on Nationwide there a few weeks ago. And, you know, you know, there's actually a lot of Sligo people doing very well here in New York, and it's great to see. And it's same like it's just good to see good honest lads. You see the work they put into it behind the scenes, and then finally, well, obviously now with a few shuts during this pandemic, but I think when we open up again, eventually everyone will get back to where they were, you know.
It'll lift off again. McDade I heard he has a PR agent since his appearance on Nationwide there recently. I was trying to get in touch with him, but I was directed to this new PR agent he has. So
yeah, it's very hard to get hold of him now. It's very hard to get hold of him now. He really has a different, such an ego on him now after it, you know. And you're better off. I don't know. You're better off contacting him on his Instagram or something. That's the only thing he goes off now.
Yeah. I'll him some way, so I will. He's a great man. I suppose we were just chatting about there. You were saying you have to make the most of this sport or the lockdown or whatever, Paddy. I suppose you've gone from living life in the fast lane as such in the city. All of a sudden complete standstill. How are you adapting, or how did you find it? Is it getting a bit easier, or how did you find it in the early on?
The good thing is that I would always have been working. We had an office off Fifth Avenue that we would have went into, but beforehand I would have always been working from home anyway. So I kind of already have my routine and stuff like that. So it's just the fact that you're actually not going anywhere at night. You know, we started watching The Sopranos series, whatever. There's
Netflix.
6 series. You know, so we started watching that from series shows. 1, episode 1. You know, to watch that at night instead of going to the nightclub. That's the only difference for me, really. Like you're not picking. There's no income or anything like that. So we're just trying to look at some other ideas and try to maybe set up some type of a recruitment company and you know, do some social media for small businesses. And you know, that's the type. You're just trying to take this time to try and work on some other things and catch up on what you were behind in, you know.
Yeah, it gives you a chance to do all those things. I suppose you'll looking at rebuilding, and when things do start to open up, how do you see yourself? No one has a crystal ball. No one knows exactly how, you know, the world is going to react to this. But how do you see yourself maybe adapting or moving into maybe, you know, what broadening your offering, or have you any plans there yet, or are you looking into different areas?
That's it. Like I mentioned there, now that I'm out in Montauk, it would be great to have some kind of business out here for the summer. You know, this is right by the water, and you know, it's the farthest point from New York, right on the island. So it's ideal. It's like being in Strand Hill nearly. You have a lovely beach. It's great for surfing, and has some, you know, it's a great place to be. So while there is this uncertainty about the next few months regarding large gatherings and the nightclub business, it'd be great to spend the time out here, try and build some type of a recruitment, right bit of social media. But like you said, social media is an expense that business is probably, with everything else on top of it, is probably the last thing they want to be spending money on at the moment, considering, you know, a lot of them have such huge rents that they have to pay in New York. So, yeah, it really is. And it's just about upskilling personally. Like, that's what I'm trying to do. You know, learn a bit more about digital marketing, learn a bit more about ticket selling and stuff like that, so that you can come back as it's stronger than you were going into it, you know.
Yeah, like all those things are, you know, they will stand to you. Business is going to come back. Maybe, you know, we're going to see changes. Online is probably going to become even more prevalent, but
yeah.
Skilling, now is the time to do it, Paddy. It's all these things that we never had time to do when life was so busy. The social media thing, I suppose, it's great business. It was a big part of you getting your name out there, but when you're using it both for personal and for business, it can sort of take over, and you can, before you know it, find yourself having, you know, wasted half the day on social media. Manage your time, or are you sometimes victim of the social media, the cash, and it's just you get caught up in the whole thing? Or have you any tips on how to manage your time with it?
Yeah, that is true, especially because my business, a lot of it is client service. People hit me up, oh, I'm coming to New York and in June 1st to the 10th, can you send me the weekly lineup, what's involved, you know? And so I could have from 50 to 80 text messages, WhatsApps, Instagram, between all three every day. So it does, you know, you could, okay, I'll write reply to them all from at 2 p.m. and like it could be 4:30 and you're still finishing off. So that's 2.5 hours of your day where you're just simply replying to messages. I'm sure it's the same with yourselves, you know, people really, oh, what size? So that is demanding, and that is something that we try to outsource, where you have someone just deal with the client service. But at the end of the day, you know, it's social media and client service. It's so important, you know. So you nearly want to do it yourself, so that your reply is as personal as possible. And then there's the whole thing is how much you need to post. And me personally, the last few weeks, I've kind of not really been sure what to post, because I don't want to be posting up a picture of me in these clothes, you know, because it's just not really that appropriate. I was kind of go down more the memes, do something funny to make people laugh rather than the normal stuff I used to post, you know. And you know, that's the kind of way I've been approaching it. I really like the way you've been doing it. That's great as well, you know.
Yeah.
One other thing we were doing online is we were doing that online nightclub, which is like actually more about people's mental health. It's for anyone that hasn't seen it, it's every Saturday night we all go on Zoom and we have a big nightclub, so to speak, where there's a DJ playing, and you know, you just invite everyone to come along, and it's just like, it nearly is a social environment where it'll be me and 15 or 20 people that would usually come out with me. We're all in Zoom, obviously in our own houses, but we're still socializing, having a drink, playing a drinking game, whatever, you know. I think that kind of people at home there on their own, it's a nice outsource, something different than the other 6 nights of the week where you're like myself watching Sopranos.
Yeah, look, it's not the real thing, but there's look, the Sopranos is as good as any nightclub. But there's you know, in a city like New York, there's obviously thousands and thousands of people living on their own in maybe 1-bedroom apartments. You know, maybe the likes of that online nightclub it's a good outlet to have for them, maybe once or twice a week, you know. You never thought you'd be, little did you think a couple of months ago this is what you'd be doing, but it is helping some people, bro.
Yeah, even myself, it's just it's also a way of, like I mentioned earlier, building a relationship with your customers, and like, you know, forming, like, you know, we're always going to say in a year's time, 2 years time, that, oh, you were the one on the virtual nightclub, you know. It's just a different way of making a moment to remember with someone that not a lot of other promoters are doing, you know. So it's good. got picked up on Bloomberg and Wall Street Journal, you know, so we got some good publicity out of it, you know, and so well, look, we'll see. It's not something that it's not for everyone, you know. You know, it's not for everyone. I'll put it that way. But if you are just want a bit lonely or whatever, and you just want to try something different, it's worth coming on, you know.
Yeah. Look, these people will remember. They'll remember you for it, you know, for making the effort to do that and the bit during this time. I suppose New York, tough city, resilient people, but you know they will definitely bounce back. But what can you see socially being the big changes in New York for maybe the next few months when things do start to get back to normal?
Well, yeah, I really don't think that the nightclubs are definitely going to be the last. Nightclubs and concerts and stuff are going to be the last. So realistically, it could be September. You know, we were hoping mid-June, mid-July, but the reports here are saying that the main businesses are going to be all open just in July 1st. So that pushes us all back. Then you have the restaurants like the Jackdaw and them type of bars where, you know, if you're only allowed 50% capacity, but they're still paying full on rent and they have all their overheads back, full on overheads, but they're only allowed to bring in 50% of their capacity, then, you know, they're still going to be operating at losses. You know, it's like I'm sure even in EJ's there yourself, you know, they're going to be fully open, but like so many people are still not going to want to be going in shop, and therefore obviously you have your website, which I'm sure will be a big help. But like bars, like the bars, restaurants, they don't have that luxury of that type of thing, unfortunately, you know.
Yeah, no, I think, but for every business, people aren't just going to come straight rushing back out into those shops, pubs, restaurants. But unfortunately, the pubs and restaurants are probably going to get it the hardest for the next while, like, you know. But is there, for the likes of McDade and Carter and the Jackdaw, in fairness, the government here have brought in a lot of like rent freezes, mortgage freezes. You know, they are helping business out. Is there? I know Trump is going on there every night saying he's doing this and doing that, but what is he doing really? Have they brought in many things to help small businesses?
Yeah, there is a stimulus package, but we just got we got an email there today saying that they've ran out of money. So I've applied for me and Alan here and the lads. We've all applied for it maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then we got an email today saying that they're not. They've ran out of money, so they need to get some more money. And you still don't know if you're qualified for it or not. You know, it's a bit weird. It's not really that clear. Like Donald Trump is, you know, he's his own. He's sending different messages to everyone. You know, every morning we listen to Governor Cuomo, and
he's the man.
You know, he seems to be speaking sense, but then obviously, but Donald Trump as well as different things to say. So, I mean, look, I'm just lucky we're in a position here where I can go a few months without work when I'm away from the city. You know, that's 2 pluses. Where in a negative scenario, but sure, look, that you got to make the most of it, you know. Yeah.
Well, look, you're definitely in a safer place where you are there now at the minute, anyway, and you might as well.
Yeah. Were you ever out here yourself? Were you?
Montauk, we went out for one night only. I don't think it didn't end as bad as the bread van in Boston, but one night was enough in Montauk as well.
Yeah. It's very popular here now with Irish people.
Yeah, it's great spot. It's like the Strand Hill of Long Island, really, isn't it? On a bigger scale.
Yeah.
Well, look, we won't keep you much longer, Paddy. I suppose just you know, you're obviously Paddy Greene. Your mum isn't on Instagram, so don't worry. I won't tell her the answer. You know, that you give to this question. You ever see yourself returning home back to Sligo or Ireland, or obviously she'd want you to, but you might have different ideas.
Yeah, well, look, you'd always plan on at some stage of your life, whether when it's your 50 or 55 to go back. You know, when I do go back, and my sister has an amazing house up there by your place. You know, and you're like, wow, you know, you could, if you're living in this house and you're living like this, it's you know, you could definitely see yourself moving back. You know. At the moment, it's definitely definitely not on the cards. But like, you'd like to think that when you are at an older stage that you would move back home, especially when you have kids. When you have kids in the like, because you'd like to see them. But at the moment, definitely not. Anyways,
you'll bring an army of kids back with you.
Yeah.
Look, you could have worse spots to come back to than Sligo anyway.
Absolutely. And like I said there, I was watching the Eamon O'Hara's Instagram live he had, and just great memories there, like of being in Sligo and growing up in Sligo. It's and you're listening to a Sligo legend there as well. And even it's the great. They're all great memories of being from Sligo, and even when we're over here working in New York, we're still flying the Sligo flag, and it's even though we're away, we're like representing, so to speak.
You never forget where you're coming from. You're doing a great job as well. Yeah, no, the Eamon O'Hara interview was brilliant. I suppose this is all new to us, what we're doing. We've just had to change the route we're taking with social media, and I suppose so. If it's one positive you take out of the whole scenario is that we're getting a chance to do this, maybe chatting to the likes of yourself, Eamon O'Hara. We had Donaghy on, we were chatting to Clerkin in Vietnam, and it's something different. These things they'll be good to look back on in 20 years.
Yeah.
Remember how, and we'd be saying how we got through it all together and came out better the other side, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Like even now, I have to go and do shopping for the week. Like it was like being back home in Sligo, going to Dunn stores for the week, but do shopping for the two lads in the house so that we have enough food to do us until next Thursday.
Any Denny sausages or rashers in the shops out in Montauk, no?
No, but Alan stopped off. We got some pudding there last week, so we had some of that. But some of that McDonald's sauce. Some potato crisps as well. We have a bit, I was following your Thai green curry recipe.
Oh, stop. Getting the place wrecked.
Yeah. No, you did a good job now.
Not bad. I had a bit of help from Holly anyway, but no, look, it was great chatting to you, Paddy, and stay safe, I suppose, is the main thing. We'll keep in touch with Johnny, and we'll
absolutely cheers, and thanks.
Hopefully
things
will be back to normal. If you're chatting to McDade, you might ask him to give me a shout, so just tell him I haven't find it hard to get so
I know, like, look, you and me both, we're having the same problem.
Yeah.
I tell you, a bit of fame and they're just gone to their heads. I don't know, it's always the little fellas.
Nationwide can do that to you, Paddy.
Yeah, it does.
Right, Paddy.
Sam, bro. Bye.
Good to talk to you. Take it easy. Bye.